Hello, welcome to Smith Welding Restoration. I am Adam Niffen. Today we're going to look at some plastic repair. It looks like there's quite a few guys doing plastic repair up there right now. It just happens to be relevant to the car lot cars we're working on, our bubblegum duct tape fixes. You're going to look here, this is off of Impala, Chevy Impala. It's busted to shit. What we're going to focus on, I'm going to show you this area right here in particular. GM especially tends to use an ABS plastic. So I'm going to show you kind of how to get this put back together with minimal filler. We're going to use some basic tools. To speed shit up, I'm going to use air tools. I got a high-speed sander with a 24 grit, and it's worn out. I don't throw them away when they're worn out. I use them for shit like this. Roll lock in some cases we use, a little 3-inch angle grinder. Heat gun for shaping, pulling it back to where it belongs. Soldering iron for doing the actual welding. The interesting part of the actual welding is we'll fuse this material back together, and we're going to use some plastic, ABS plastic, that is literally, come over here on the wall, I'll show you. Does that look familiar to you all? That's what it is, ABS plastic. It's the same plastic that most of your GM bumper covers are made out of. Ford uses some different compounds. There's a bunch of different compounds out there. I have parts of bumper covers I've replaced. I'll cut pieces. So if it's a Ford, I can go out there, well, here's a box of Ford bumper cover scraps. I use that for filler. I don't go up to the store and pay 50 bucks for a bundle of different types of plastic. So we're going to start off with, we got to clean this up. We got to get the paint off. What we're going to focus on here is, I want to bring this area in particular where all of the contours are. I want to show you that you can do this type of shit. You can do it at home. This isn't rocket science. I touch it and pull it off frequently because the high-speed sander will melt this plastic. Don't melt it. Makes your life harder later. All I'm doing is cleaning up these parts. I'm not going to go all the way into this contour for you guys today. I just want to show a contour and then I want to show a flat area. I'm cleaning up these parts of all contaminants and paint. And for our purposes on what we're looking at, paint is a contaminant, okay? We're welding this back together, we're fusing it. Pop that, pull it. Now, I don't care how really cleaned up it is. We don't really need air anymore. Now, you've got a puncture where it's distorted the plastic. We'd use a heat gun and get everything lined up reasonably. In this case, everything's pretty fair to the point. That's really close to lining up. Now, I'm going to keep the air around because after I heat it up, I'm going to hit it with compressed air to cool it down quicker. So we're reasonably close. I'm not worried about, on this type of repair, we're not using an epoxy or anything. I'm not worrying about keying this out. When you take and make a groove, if you look in the book, you key it out. You create a keyway for the new material to go in. I don't care about that. Why? Because we're not stacking material on top for a chemical or even a physical tooth. We're actually creating a fusion. We're going to fuse the materials back together. Same concept as good old welding. I showed you this, I think, already. It's just an old soldering iron with a paddle on it. And a light. You know it's working when the light's on. So we're going to start, and we're just going to try to get some of these areas that are pulled apart and puckered. I just want to is nice and hot and start pressing it into the plastic. I want to melt, I want to fuse these areas back together. It doesn't matter if you make a mess of things, you're going to come back with a rod later. And you really want to get in deep. You want to burn most of the way through the plastic when you're doing this type of repair this way. That way, it's just like welding, you want to get a good penetration. Same thing. Hit that with a bullet. Those will pretty much stay where they're at. See that? It's not popping there anymore. So, I'll go underneath, I'll pop that back. We got an area here, and there's actually a void. But that's where 4 pieces come together, 3 pieces come together right here on this one point. I'm going to push out on the one that's trying to fall back behind. Flush those up. Like I said again, you know, get in there deep, really dig in there. You're still going to have, this is a one-sided repair. You can do this on the car as long as you can pull these pieces back out to where they're semi-flush. Even if you were to put a, let's say, a sheetrock screw in it to grab with a pair of pliers and pull it out, you can do that because you got to paint it. You got to use a little bit of polyester or 2-part epoxy repair for these. That's kind of where we're at there. Up here, it's not quite level. I'm going to go ahead and pull this into, fuse it. Pull that to level while it's still hot. Just a piece at a time. I'm going to go ahead and take it all the way over here. I just kind of want to show you all how I do this particular repair and why. Like I said, if I'm in a pinch, I don't have any plastic, most of the plastics will work okay with those old spreaders. So now it's solid again. It's not popping, it's not deforming anymore. And then we can come back in. We'll start right here. Nice and hot. Now we gotta start laying on and just kind of clump it on there. Start laying it out. Use the contour of that paddle to your benefit. Now all this out here will flake off when you go to sand it. This area here hasn't been fused yet. Go ahead and make sure you fuse all the areas. If you don't, putting filler on it's pointless for the most part. But with this method I use to achieve perfection, it's very minimal polyester filler, and it costs you a square that you've already used up that costs 33 cents to begin with, or parts of an old bumper that you threw away. You just cut some strips off of it to utilize later. And I left the surface really rough for right now. When it comes time to finish it, obviously you go through the normal practices of finishing. I want to make sure you're just a little bit high instead of recessed. Right there, right at the seam where it's broken. Come back, I'm going to smooth it out. If it's got tension behind it, you have to do this in baby steps. Get it melted and fused, hit it with compressed air, then you can let go of it. You have to clamp it together in the weirdest ways sometimes. but because I've got it relaxed, I'm not trying to pull this to conform to any specific shape. I'm just getting these surfaces flush again. For my purposes this second, that's all I need. I've done, gosh, I want to say in the last month I've done half a dozen or more of these. Leaf, he's been busy with classes and stuff lately, but Leaf has come in and actually stapled a few bumpers together for us. But as the season gets here, you know, it's used car and car lot season again, we're going to see more of these. People are going to be asking to get bumper covers repaired, you know, instead of a $400 bumper cover. You know, this is all pure labor minus a little bit of fill. I get done welding this before I finish it. I'm going to abuse it a little bit and show you that we've got a good finish, a good repair rather. Typically when you do this, you get a flexible surface primer, you block everything down, you use a little bit of fill you need to, use a good flexible surface primer and an adhesion promoter. See, and one nice thing about this, you know, your epoxies you use, you got to use a adhesion promoter hand in hand with it. Your staples and everything, you got to use a fancy machine, or at least add-on gadget for a stud welder. I'm willing to rate the majority of the houses across America have something akin to a soldering iron. They're cheap. And instead of a $250 metal staple heated staple kit, you got a $40 soldering iron. I mean, we're almost done with what we got to do here. And there's going to be very little distortion to the original piece. And at this point, if you had to use a heat gun to push it back into positions to flush these parts up, remember we had this crack that went right down here. We had a bunch of footage shot the other day and it disappeared between the shop and my laptop on this camera. It never made it. I don't understand. It's alright. That's why I'm following up with a junk bumper that was outside. Because this is good shit. This is good shit to know. You know, I work on enough car lot cars, but I don't work on a lot of modern cars. So this is really new acquired skills to me even. So, you know, don't go, oh, well, he's fixed 100 of these bastards. He makes it look simple and easy. This is bumper 6. I fucked with this on. Don't forget that. It doesn't take great skill. It takes great motivation. Alright, at that point, I'm going to let that cool down. You can see where we didn't fuse it, but right where we did fuse it, it's no longer broken. I'm flexing that fiercely, and it's not cracking. It's not tearing. That's a permanent fix. Well, I mean, as permanent as these cheap-ass new bumpers work on these cars. I'm going to get DA and I'm going to knock that down a little bit. Bring it right in there. see all those spots. For a wound that was that grievous, we got a line, a detail line that's going to come down here and kind of fall off in this area. But you can use a heat gun and pull that pucker out. We use a heat gun and push this low spot back out. But I mean, at that point, with the plastic we put in there, it's a good solid weld, and it'll take minimal fillers. You can